All right, so you're thinking about maybe investing in Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Smart move. It's a pretty fascinating story, and we've got a ton of research here to really help you understand their business model,
Yeah, they've got a lot going on, their market position,
their financials, future growth.
future growth potential.
Yeah?
Get ready for some serious insights because Ujjivan is doing some really, really interesting things in the Indian banking landscape.
For sure. They've got a unique story, right?
Yeah, what's really compelling about them is their journey. So they didn't just appear out of nowhere. They kind of evolved from a microfinance lender.
Okay.
And they had this laser focus on reaching financially excluded populations.
Interesting.
Yeah, and their founder, Sumit Ghosh, he had this vision to empower those often overlooked by traditional banks. So those who couldn't get loans from normal banks, they were going to be the ones to help them.
That's pretty cool. That's a powerful origin story. It seems like that commitment to financial inclusion is still super important to them, even as they've grown so much. And I know in 2017, they made a big change, right?
Yeah.
They went from just being a microfinance lender to a full-on small finance bank.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges and opportunities came with that shift?
Yeah, that's a great question. So becoming a small finance bank meant that Ujjivan could offer a much broader range of banking services.
Okay, so they could reach more people.
Exactly. Attract a wider customer base,
Yeah.
tap into new revenue streams. Of course, it also meant like navigating a much more complicated world of
Yeah,
regulations
for sure.
and competing with the big guys, the established players already in the banking sector.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it successfully. I know their IPO back in 2019 was a big success, which shows that investors really have confidence in them,
Definitely.
in their growth potential. But before we get too deep into Ujjivan itself, I think it's important to take a look at the bigger picture.
Sure.
The Indian banking sector as a whole, what's going on there?
Oh man, the Indian banking sector, it's booming.
Okay.
We are seeing massive growth in deposits, a huge surge in digital transactions,
hmm
and the rise of fintech. It's really shaking things up, disrupting those traditional models. Think of it as a vibrant ecosystem, right? A ton of opportunity, but also a ton of competition.
Yeah, fierce competition, I'm sure. So where does Ujjivan fit into all of this?
They're in a really good spot strategically to cater to a specific and underserved segment of the market. Small finance banks in India are specifically designed to kind of bridge the gap
Okay.
between those traditional big banks and the millions and millions of people who have been excluded from formal financial services.
I see, yeah. And their business model seems to reflect that focus, right?
Absolutely.
From what I'm seeing, they have a really diverse set of products and services.
Totally. Let's break down their offerings. It's all neatly categorized
Okay.
into loans and deposits. It's kind of like a two-pronged approach.
Makes sense. Let's start with loans. What are we talking about here?
Okay, so Ujjivan offers like a wide range, a whole bunch of different loan products,
Okay.
but we can group them into a few key categories. So we've got micro banking loans,
Okay.
MSME loans, which are micro, small, and medium enterprises,
Gotcha.
affordable housing loans, and then what they call FI lending, which is financial institutions group lending.
All right. So let's break those down a bit. Microbanking loans, that's probably from their roots, right?
Exactly, yeah. They were a microfinance lender, right?
Right.
So these loans, often given to either groups or individuals, they target people who might not qualify for traditional bank loans. So small-scale farmers, street vendors, women entrepreneurs.
Wow.
It's all about empowering those communities at the grassroots level.
Yeah, I see how that ties into their whole financial inclusion mission.
Totally.
What about the MSME loans?
So this is where they're serving the needs of, as I said, micro, small, and medium enterprises, which are a huge engine of growth for the Indian economy. We're talking loans against property, business overdrafts, working capital loans, anything that helps these businesses grow.
It's like they're supporting the backbone of the Indian economy.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. What about affordable housing loans? Is that a big part of what they do?
Oh, yeah, definitely. As India's urban population keeps growing, the demand for affordable housing is just going through the roof.
Yeah.
So Ujjivan offers loans for construction, purchase, home improvement, even micro mortgages. They're trying to help people who couldn't get a home before get a home. They're making homeownership a reality for many who thought it was totally out of reach.
That's awesome. And FI lending, is that different? That's not individuals, that's not small businesses,
You
right?
got it. Think of FI lending as Ujjivan supporting like the entire financial ecosystem itself.
Okay.
They're providing loans to other financial institutions, like non-banking financial companies, housing finance companies,
Yeah.
even other microfinance institutions.
Oh.
It's like this ripple effect.
I see.
It strengthens the entire financial sector.
That's really cool. So we talked about loans. They've got that part covered. But what about the other side of it, the deposits? What options are they offering to get funds?
Okay, so they have a pretty well-structured approach to deposits, and it's all categorized as retail products,
Okay.
third-party products, and institutional products.
Gotcha. So let's go through those. Retail products, that's probably like your typical banking stuff.
You got it. Current and savings accounts,
Yeah.
fixed deposits,
Right.
and then even your digital options, your mobile wallets, online banking platforms.
Okay.
It's all about making it as easy as possible for the average person.
Convenience and accessibility.
Totally.
What about third party? I'm guessing that's partnerships and stuff.
Exactly. Ujjivan partners with other providers to offer a wider range of financial services.
Okay.
So your insurance products,
Uh-huh.
mutual funds, other investment opportunities. It's a one-stop shop. They want to take care of everything.
Nice. And then lastly, the institutional products. That's for the bigger fish.
Yeah, exactly. These are designed for those larger organizations and institutions. You've got your bulk fixed deposits,
Yeah.
term money,
Ah,
certificates of deposit.
gotcha.
It's a way for Ujjivan to get those bigger sums of capital.
All right. So it sounds like they've got a really comprehensive set of offerings for both loans and deposits.
Totally.
And it seems like they're in a strategic position to serve a lot of different types of customers. But what really makes them stand out from the other guys?
I think what sets them apart is how focused they are on the customer. They've gone above and beyond to make banking accessible and convenient, especially for people who are new to it or not so comfortable with technology.
Can you give me some examples of that? How are they making banking more inclusive?
Sure. So take their Hello Ujjivan app, for example. It's designed to be super user-friendly, even if you're not really into tech.
Okay.
It's in a bunch of different languages and even has a chatbot that can walk you through transactions.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that helps to bridge the digital divide a little bit.
Absolutely.
But what about people who don't have smartphones or don't have access to the internet?
Yeah, they thought of that too. They've got this system called SMS and missed call banking.
Okay, so that doesn't require the internet.
Not at all. You can do basic transactions like check your balance or transfer money just by sending a text or even giving a missed call.
Yeah.
Super simple, right?
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So they are reaching a wider audience
definitely.
for sure. Now let's talk about their geographic presence. Where are they and how far do they reach?
So Ujjivan has a pretty impressive presence in India. They operate in 26 states
Wow.
and union territories all across the country.
So they're not just in big cities.
Nope.
Okay.
They have a network of 753 banking outlets, and they're strategically spread across 326 districts.
Wow.
They want to reach urban and rural areas. That commitment to financial inclusion is strong. They're making sure everyone has access to banking no matter where they live.
That's pretty incredible. Their loan portfolio is also geographically diverse, right? They're not just lending in one spot.
Exactly. They've got a really good mix of loans: metro, urban, semi-urban, and rural.
Wow.
They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Yeah, you want to spread the risk a little bit.
Absolutely. Their loan portfolio is also diversified by region.
Okay.
So east, north, south, west, each contribute a pretty significant portion of their business.
And that's super important because it helps to reduce risk.
Absolutely. By spreading out their loans like that, they're less vulnerable if one particular area has problems.
Right.
So it's a super smart strategy for growth.
All right, so we've covered their business model.
Yeah.
We've talked about where they are. Let's move on to their financials.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about how they've been doing and the key financial highlights?
Let's look at their Q3 FY25 performance, because that can tell us a lot about their financial health right now.
Perfect. What are some of the key takeaways from the latest quarterly results?
Okay, there are some positive things here that tell us they're doing well. For instance, their retail term deposits and HESA, that stands for current account savings account, that's grown a lot, like 24% year over year.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's a really good sign that they're getting more customers and building a stable base for deposits,
Right?
which any bank needs to grow and be able to lend money.
Exactly, yeah. And what of their loan book? Has that grown much?
Totally. Their gross loan book has gone up 10% year over year.
Okay.
That means it's reached a total of 30,466 crore.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's healthy. It means their lending is going well.
Yeah. And their total deposits, are they keeping up with the growth?
Yeah, absolutely. Their total deposits are up by 16% year over year.
Great.
And that's good. That means they have enough funds to support all those loans they're making.
So far, so good.
Right.
What about their employees? Have they changed how many employees they have?
They have actually. Their workforce has grown quite a bit, which could mean that they are really committed to serving more customers and growing their business.
That makes sense, yeah. It's not all perfect, though, right? I see some numbers that show maybe a dip in profitability.
Yeah, that's right. So their net interest income, which is basically what they earn from lending, has increased.
Yeah.
But their profit before provisions, or KPAP, and profit after tax, or PPAY, have both decreased compared to the same time last year.
Interesting. So why would profitability decrease?
Well, there could be a couple of reasons. Maybe operating expenses increased, growing the business, investing in tech, that costs money.
Right.
Or maybe they had to set aside more money for bad loans, which is normal in banking, to cover potential defaults.
Yeah, you have to prepare for that.
Absolutely.
So they are growing, getting more customers, but they're also facing some challenges with staying profitable. To understand their earnings better, let's dig into their revenue from the different segments. How is Ujjivan making money?
All right, so if we break it down by segment, we can see what areas of their business are doing well and where the growth is coming from.
From what I'm seeing, group loans still make up a big part of their revenue, right?
Right, yeah. Group loans, which is their traditional thing from back in their microfinance days,
Yep.
it still brings in about 45% of their gross loan book,
Okay.
but it looks like that segment has actually decreased year over year.
Oh, really? Is that bad?
Not necessarily. It could just mean they're shifting their strategy a bit,
Okay.
focusing on some of their other loan products as they're diversifying, looking for what's more profitable.
Yeah, trying new things. So which segments are showing the best growth?
Well, their individual loans, which is things like business loans and home improvement loans, have grown like 21% year over year.
Okay.
But the real winner is their affordable housing segment. It's gone up a crazy 45%.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
They're really taking advantage of the demand for housing loans.
Yeah.
Riding that wave of India's urbanization, right?
Cool.
What about their MSME loans? How are those performing?
Yeah, their MSME loans are also doing really well.
Okay, good.
It's gone up a solid 21% year over year, which shows that they're committed to helping small businesses,
Right.
which have huge growth potential.
Yeah, for sure. And FI lending, I'm seeing some big numbers there.
Yeah, their FI lending segment has jumped by 57%. So it's clear that other financial institutions want their loan products, and that means people respect them. They think Ujjivan knows what it's doing.
So their profitability might be down a little, but their revenue from the different segments is still growing pretty consistently. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but overall it seems like they're doing pretty well. Before we wrap this part up, I want to talk about their strategy for growth. What are their plans for getting bigger and stronger in the market?
Okay, so they have 6 main strategies for growth that are lined up with current market trends and what customers in India need.
6. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty comprehensive. Let's take a look at those strategies and how Ujjivan plans to handle the future of banking in India. But we'll have to do that in part 2 of this deep dive. Looking forward to it. There's so much more to discover about Ujjivan and what they're planning.
Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, Ujjivan's growth strategy. They've got 6 of them, right?
Yeah, 6 big ones.
What's the first one?
It's all about having the right products.
So,
Comprehensive and relevant products. Basically, they know that to keep customers happy and get new ones,
especially with all that competition.
exactly, they need to have lots of options that actually meet people's needs.
So it's not just about having a ton of products, it's about having the right ones.
Yeah, the stuff people actually want and need.
What does that look like in action?
So they're always expanding what they offer,
Yeah.
especially those asset and liability products, and they're really focused on building strong relationships
Okay.
with the customers they already have. It's not just about chasing new people, it's about taking care of the ones you've got.
I like that. Loyalty is so important.
Absolutely.
So what's strategy number 2?
Technology, gotta have technology. It's called Focus on Digital Banking and Analytics.
That makes sense. Everyone's going digital these days, especially in India.
Yeah, it's exploding over there.
How is Ujjivan handling that?
They're putting a lot of money into digital platforms, making them easy to use,
Right.
API integration, all the techie stuff.
Yeah.
And they're partnering with fintech companies. The idea is to make banking smooth and easy for people who are comfortable with technology.
So they're not afraid of the new tech, and they're happy to work with the innovators.
Exactly.
Smart. All right, what's the third one on the list?
Number 3 is about making sure they have a good foundation for growth. It's build a stable and granular deposit base.
Okay, what does that mean? A granular deposit base.
Basically, they want lots of smaller deposits instead of depending on a few big ones
Okay.
from like institutions.
Hmm.
That way, things are more stable. If someone pulls out a big chunk of money, it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah, spreading the risk.
Exactly.
That makes sense. What's the next priority?
Number 4 is strong distribution and collection network. This is about making sure they can actually reach their customers.
So it's not just about having those fancy websites and apps.
Nope. You need a way to connect with people in the real world.
Yeah, they're expanding physically, right?
They are. New branches, more outlets, but they're also making their digital stuff even better. It's kind of like having the best of both worlds. That way they can help everyone.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. What's number 5 on their list?
All right. This one is super important to them, especially given their history. It's continue focus on improving financial and digital inclusion.
That's no surprise. They've been all about that from the start.
Right.
So how are they planning to keep doing that?
It's all about helping the people who don't have access to these services and empowering them. They do a lot of financial literacy programs
Okay.
and make sure they have the digital tools they need. They want everyone to be part of the system.
Yeah, no one left behind.
Exactly.
That's great. What's the last strategy?
Number 6, the final one, is diversify revenue streams. Basically, they don't want to rely on just one thing to make money.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of thing.
Yeah. They're looking at different options like treasury income,
Okay.
bank assurance, fees for services, all sorts of things.
Got you. So if one thing goes down, they have other ways to bring money in.
Exactly. Makes them way more resilient.
Yeah, definitely. So they've got these 6 big strategies, pretty comprehensive.
Uh-huh.
What's the goal? What's the big picture here? Where do they see themselves down the road?
They want to get a universal banking license by March 2025.
Wow, that's a big goal.
It is.
What would that mean for them?
Well, that means they could offer way more services.
Okay.
They'd be competing with the biggest banks in India. It shows how much they believe in themselves and their potential to grow.
So they don't want to be a small player. They want to be in the big leagues.
Exactly. But to do that, they're going to have to face some serious competition, right?
Oh, of course.
Who else wants a piece of the Indian banking pie?
Right. Who are they up against?
So there are a lot of players in the small finance bank space.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty crowded, lots of strong competition. Everyone wants market share.
Can you give me some names? Who are Ujjivan's main competitors?
Sure, some of the big names are AU Small Finance Bank, Equitas Small Finance Bank,
Right.
Jana Small Finance Bank, Utkarsh Small Finance Bank,
So many.
Fincare Small Finance Bank, Suryoday Small Finance Bank,
Wow.
ESAF Small Finance Bank, and Capital Small Finance Bank. There's a lot of them. Each one has their own strengths and ways of doing things.
So what makes Ujjivan different from the rest? What gives them an edge?
Well, a few things, I think. First, all that experience in microfinance, that gives them a really deep understanding of customers that other banks haven't really served,
Right.
and their tech focus.
Mm-hmm.
Being all about digital inclusion, that sets them apart too. And they're not afraid to go for big goals like that universal banking license. That shows they're serious.
So they're taking their experience, adding in the tech, and aiming high. Pretty powerful combination.
Yeah, it's definitely working for them.
But what does it all mean for investors? What are the big takeaways from our deep dive into Ujjivan Small Finance Bank?
Well, we have to be real. Investing always has risks,
Yeah.
and things change quickly in the financial world.
For sure.
But Ujjivan, they're in a good spot. The market's growing. People like that they have a social mission.
Yeah.
And their strategy seems pretty smart and adaptable. They're dealing with the challenges and taking advantage of the opportunities in the Indian banking sector.
It's like they're not just going along for the ride, they're shaping the future of banking in India.
Absolutely. What I really like about them is they're not just chasing profits. They're doing it responsibly.
Yeah.
They really care about empowering their customers and making financial inclusion a reality.
That's great. It's not just about making money, it's about making a difference too.
Exactly.
It's a powerful combination.
Mhm.
It makes you think, what could a bank like this do if they expanded beyond India?
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
I mean, they've been so successful in India, which is such a complicated market. Could they be a model for other places, other countries trying to do the same thing?
It's definitely possible, right? Their model with the social impact and the profits, it could be a roadmap for other businesses.
Yeah, other companies that want to make money and do good at the same time.
Exactly, the whole profit with a purpose thing.
So there you have it. That's Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. We've seen their whole story, how they started as a little microfinance lender, and now they're a big player in the Indian banking world. We looked at how they do business, their money situation, where they operate, and what they're hoping to achieve in the future.
We've seen how dedicated they are to helping those who haven't had access to financial services before, their use of technology.
Their smart strategies for dealing with such a tough competitive market.
Yeah, it's impressive.
For investors, Ujjivan is definitely worth considering. They're in a market that's growing like crazy, they're committed to doing things the right way, and they have a solid plan to reach their goals. But, like with any investment, do your own homework. Talk to your financial advisor before you jump in.
Couldn't agree more. But for me, what's truly inspiring is how they're using their business to make a positive change in the world. They're showing that you can be successful and make a real difference in people's lives.
And that's a story worth telling. It could inspire a whole new way of thinking about business. We'll definitely be watching what Ujjivan does next, and we suggest you do too. Maybe they'll become a global example of how to do banking right. Proof that doing good and making money can go together. Until next time, keep asking those questions, stay curious, and good luck with your investments.